Hey guys, how you going? What's going on? My name's Adam Dyson. Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna turn off. I thought I'd give you a really quick precursor to this episode. This is an episode from last year that I actually found. So this will be the first for 2019, which is super exciting. 2019, I can't believe it's 2019 already. This is my ninth year in photography, which is really, really cool. But yeah, really hope you enjoy this episode. It is another episode of how I shot this shot. One more thing too, if you have any ideas for content that you want to see on my channel, make sure you let me know. Chuck it in the comment section below. Also, in the break over Christmas, I just ticked over 1,000 subscribers. So thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button. Also click the notification button so you get all my videos as they launch on the channel. But anyway, let's jump into this one and I'll see you guys soon. Hey guys, how you going? What's going on? My name's Adam Dyson and welcome back to How I Shot This Shot. I don't think that's actually the name of this series yet, but eventually it will have a name. But for now, I'm gonna call it How I Shot This Shot. Anyway, today we are at the Namadgi National Park at Legoland Rocks, and that is in the ACT right near Canberra, which is actually the capital of Australia. As a whole, this is a really simple shot to shoot, but it's a really good example of a super dynamic, symmetrical shot. So first up, I've chucked my camera onto the tripod and I've put it in the vertical orientation. I really like vertical shots because it introduces a lot of the top of the frame and it introduces a lot of the bottom of the frame as well. So to create a really dynamic image, I'm using a vertical composition. Next up, I've sorted out my exposure. So I've got 100 ISO, I've got f11, and I've got a base exposure of 2 seconds. Because there is a heap of contrast in this particular scene, it's always smart to bracket your image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bracket 2 or 3 stops under and 2 or 3 stops over, just so I've got all that detail to work with in post-production. So as a whole, the composition's starting to look really, really good, but what I'm not liking the most is the foreground elements. So there's nothing really happening on the ground of this particular cave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the camera up and to try to introduce more of the rocks overhead. So as I said before, I'm bracketing off my image just in case I need that detail to play with later on in post-production. I may never use these images, but it's always good to have that detail just in case you need them. There's nothing worse than getting back to your computer, back to your office, starting to play with your images and realizing that you're pushing your images too far and you need a little bit more in the sky, a little bit more in the dark or the light areas. So it's always good to bracket your images just in case. So I'm actually really starting to like this composition, but the main thing I want to introduce more of is the rocks in the top of the frame. So I'm going to move back about 2 or 3 foot and shoot the same composition, tilted up even more. So my exposure has changed quite a fair bit in the last couple of minutes. It is about sunset time, so it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. So now my base exposure is about 6.5 seconds, my overexposed image is about 30 seconds, and my underexposed image is 2 seconds. So what I've done is I've tilted the camera up a lot more, introduced a lot more of the rocks in the top of the frame, and it's starting to look awesome. I'm really, really liking this composition. So the main things in the composition I'm looking for is that the main rock is on one of the bottom third lines and the top rocks are on one of the top third lines. I've also introduced symmetrical lines pointing down onto that main rock. And what I'll probably do from here is run up, step onto the rock and create a bit of scale within the image. It is quite a big cave, but without the scale, I don't think you'll actually realize how big it is. So as you can see, this adds a really awesome bit of scale to this image. This cave's probably about 20 meters tall in the highest kind of part. So it looks absolutely awesome to be here in person, but it might not translate in an image without a person in it. So I think using the person works great to create that scale, and it makes the image look pretty epic too. Something to note too is that I've used the base exposure for the selfie. So that was a 3-second photo. It is probably a little bit dark, but it'll work out perfectly fine in post. So what I'll probably do from here in post-production is I'll blend all the exposed images together. So I'll blend an underexposed, an evenly exposed, and an overexposed, just so I've got all that shadow detail and highlight detail. And from there, I'll edit the image out. Once the base image is edited out, I'll look at the selfie photos, I'll edit one of them up just focusing on myself, and then I will strip in that photo into the main composition. I do this for a couple of reasons. The first is so I've got as much detail in the images as clean as possible in the main image, and then I can just strip myself into it and it'll look absolutely perfect. So there you have it. This is the final image. I hope you really liked this explanation of how I shot this particular shot. We have lost the majority of the light now, so it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did before. This is also a location I haven't seen all that much of, so if you're in the Namadgi National Park or if you're near the Namadgi National Park, jump into Legoland Rocks. It's near Canberra in the ACT, and get some photos for yourself. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you jump over, follow me on Instagram. That's where I put up all my images. And until next time, I'll catch you later.